I'm Rachel Trotta. I'm a certified personal trainer, a fitness nutrition specialist, and a women's fitness specialist. And today I'm going to be talking about why you should fuel your workouts, and on the flip side, why I'm not wild about fasted exercise and its kind of lurking popularity in fitness and weight loss culture. So first of all, let's talk about what fasted exercise even is. It is rare for people to exercise in a fasted state if they exercise later in the day, because even if they haven't eaten in the last few minutes, there's probably still a previous meal lingering in their digestive system that is providing them some fuel. So fasted exercise is truly exercising on an empty stomach, and usually that happens in the morning after a night of sleep. And the reason most people kind of fall into exercising on an empty stomach is not entirely intentional. It's because morning is maybe the only time they have to exercise. They're in a rush, they're waking up, they need to get right to their workout, and they don't have time to eat. And I actually relate to this as the mom of a toddler who works. The early morning is practically the only time that I have to myself, and that is when I personally exercise. However, I do eat before I exercise, and I really encourage my clients to do so too. They probably would not use the word encourage. They would probably use the word like pestering or perhaps beating a dead horse, because it's so important that I really don't leave people alone about it if they self-report that they are exercising on an empty stomach and then I don't see that behavior changing. And there are many reasons why. So I can kind of split this into two big categories. One is exercise performance. And then the other is motive, like why is the person not eating before they exercise, even when the opportunity to do so would be rather easy. Like what I'm saying to do is small, like have half a banana, or buy something like a liquid protein shake that's pre-made so you can just drink it before you go to the gym. Things that take, I've never timed myself eating a banana, but I would think a minute, like a really, really short amount of time. So there's the mindset side of it of like, why is there resistance? Why do we have, hesitation to overcome when it comes to fueling workouts? And then there's the scientific side of it of what are the benefits of potentially fasted exercise? And then also what are the benefits of fueled exercise? And how do we stack those up and decide what's right for us? So let's say that someone has fallen into a habit of exercising first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. They're not doing it because J-Lo posted about it on Instagram. They're just doing it because it's convenient and faster. The number one reason I want people to not do it is because whenever you don't eat before you exercise, you simply don't have as good of a workout. And I know that sounds so basic. And it can also be confusing or unmotivating for people for whom workout performance is not their biggest goal. So if someone is exercising primarily for weight loss, primarily for weight management, primarily for fat loss, their goal is not to eke out, a few seconds faster on their 5K, or their goal is not to lift 200 pounds on their deadlift and they're just, stuck. So for people who don't have exercise performance as their biggest goal, it can be really unmotivating to hear, well, you're going to work out harder if you eat. Like, that's a good thing. They might be more lured into the mindset of, oh, I hear you burn more fat from exercise if you exercise on an empty stomach, which is true, but I have a big asterisk on that I'm going to get back to in a second. So the issue with that reasoning is that whenever you exercise fasted, your body sends up some alarm bells because it's a little freaked out that you are exercising without fuel. It is perceiving the exercise as stress, partly because it has no glucose to fuel the exercise. It doesn't know what you're doing. It thinks maybe you were roused out of bed in the middle of the night and chased. And so what your body does is it starts actually dampening down metabolic function because it's not quite sure what's going on, and it wants to make sure that you're okay and that you're safe. So it slows down metabolic processes, which means that you perform lower in the workout, but it also means that you burn fewer calories overall during the workout and fewer calories after the workout. So this is that unhelpful logic of, oh, I hear you burn more fat from exercise when it's in a fasted state. Doesn't really matter, like if your goal is weight loss or fat loss, it doesn't really matter if you're not actually burning more calories overall. And this is part of that kind of keto, fat adapted trend that's going on, which really glorifies fat adaptation, fat oxidation, etc. Whereas we've lost perspective on the fact that fat loss and weight loss happen because of a caloric deficit. So what we really want to appreciate, it's not to just over idealize, burning more calories. It's the fact that whether your goal is performance or whether your goal is weight loss and fat loss, weirdly, those two things tend to go hand in hand. The stronger your workout, the more fuel you're taking in, the more calories you're going to burn overall, and the more calories you're going to burn after the workout. So if you do have a goal of weight loss or fat loss, you can really harness the power of those more vigorous, more high-performing workouts to your advantage. And then on the flip side, if you're not working on fat loss, then of course, having more powerful, vigorous, effective workouts are just to your advantage anyway, no matter what your goal is. So really understanding how those things go hand in hand rather than seeing it as two separate goals is a really, really helpful mindset shift. And so then I want to circle back around, speaking of mindset, to the other side of things, which is why is there resistance? Why is there a hesitancy to fuel workouts? Even when I tell people to do it, I give them practical solutions to do it. And this is where I really believe toxic diet culture plays a role, because there's still, even for people who I wouldn't say have disordered eating or who have a terrible relationship with food or with their bodies, there's this lingering voice that says, yeah, but if I just eat a little bit less, I'm going to get better results. Or if I just push myself a little bit harder, into my own personal reserves of energy rather than food, I'm going to get better results. And it's this narrative that is very hard to control, that plays, I think, in our cultural consciousness, but then plays in individual minds of, less is better, less is more. And the problem is that can be so firmly entrenched that all of the logic I'm presenting about how performance and how, results and weight loss and all of this, how it all goes together in one package, all of that science and all of that logic is very hard to overcome if you have that toxic diet culture negative, narrative playing in your head. So I really encourage people to, if they have that feeling, just experiment in terms of don't, commit to, I'm going to be eating this much before workouts and this much after workouts. Don't philosophically jump on a new bandwagon. Just experiment. Do it for, let's say, 2 weeks and see how you feel. Give your body a chance to adjust. Because what's amazing is that sometimes your body gets into a habit as much as your thinking does, or as much as your behaviors do. So your body hormonally can get into the habit of not eating whenever you wake up and not eating before you exercise. And by the same token, it can get into a habit of exercising with better fuel in its system. And what you might be amazed by is how much better you feel, how much better you perform, and that you like body composition changes that might happen because you are able to do things like put on more muscle mass, protect the lean muscle you have more energized, vigorous, effective workouts, make more progress in the gym, etc. So just run it as a life experiment and then tinker, like what foods work best for you, what foods sit best on your stomach, what portion size sits best on your stomach, because for an individual, it probably will take practice. So that's my little spiel about, the behaviors, the mindsets, the habits behind exercise fueling that goes beyond how many grams of carbohydrates do you actually need for an hour of cardio, and all of that good stuff, which is certainly very important. You don't need to worry about the specific numbers. The idea is just eat something before you exercise, get your blood sugar up, and do it in a way that is not excessive, that doesn't upset your stomach for exercise. So that's it for today. And if you have any questions, leave a comment. And of course, you can visit my website in the link below to see the full blog post on this topic.